It is simply amazing how quickly things can get out of hand. Well, good morning, Blue Troopers. Max and Max's Models here, and first off, I want to thank everyone who made the live stream, the Wednesday night live stream last night. Had a great time. I want to thank you for joining us. Well, things have a way of getting out of hand in a hurry in kit model world. I was going to do a quick little video on just some housekeeping chores before I head off on my next trip. Just got started putting the last set of floats on the last Douglas World Cruiser, and of course it's fighting me all the way despite my best efforts. I have the kit models and decals and stuff to drop off to my first officer, Brian, from the last trip, and for Fran, who I'll hopefully see later today. And then I got sent some pretty cool stuff by some Blue Troopers. Our good friend Paul Adams sent me this, and it is, of course, for model train layouts, and it uses an actual iPad little tablet to make a working drive-in movie, which I thought was super cool. And I want to thank Blue Trooper Brian for sending me these pictures and this link to Mitch's Military Miniatures. He does some of the Black Adder figures. And also wanted to thank him for sending me this other link to Jimmy Flintstone's Colonel Hogan miniature. So there is somebody out there making them. I told you I thought it was a good idea. But I was thinking more along the lines of tall figurines like the size of the Aurora figures and stuff like that. But still on the right track. I want to thank Mr. Pugnetti for sending me these pictures. These are some vintage models that went up for auction recently. Both sets got over $200, which is probably a pretty good price for them, as rare as they are. But that's where things went off the rails. I was looking at this V2 rocket, and I didn't recognize the box art or the manufacturer, so I looked it up. And it turned out it's from Rocket Technology of Ogden, Utah in the 60s. And I was like, okay, that's worth getting a little information on. And that's where it went off the rails. Turns out there's actually a fair bit that's been written about this kit. And the reason is that I believe it is the only one that was ever put out. There's one on Worth Point. Here's some pictures. Apparently, a gentleman by the name of John Rockonen, and I hope I'm saying that right, started the Rocket Technology Corp back in the 60s in Ogden, Utah. And the company sold this flying plastic model German V2. They had planned to produce their own rocket motors, probably based on Mr. Rockonen's work, because he worked at Thiokol. According to the Worth Point article, and I'll put a link below, it says Rare Rocket Technology Corporation, Ogden, Utah, V2 plastic flying model rocket kit manufactured in the late 60s, 1 to 50 scale V2, far ahead of its time. The use of two-part injection molded body halves, fins, and nose cone was well before Estes and Damon used them in kits. Molded in light yellow plastic, the design did not use paper body tubes or for motor mounts either. The only paper tube in the whole kit is the launching lug, which almost appears to have been forgotten when the molded parts were made and added afterwards. Goes on to talk about the packaging, which you can see, but this was one I don't think I'd ever heard of, and it goes on to mention that these kits are very rare. The V2 kits were an offshoot of Rocket Technology Corporation, which had plans to compete with Vern Estes in the early 60s, founded by John Rockonen. The company ran into production problems making black powder A, B, and C motors. John Rockonen worked professionally at Morton Thiokol in Utah, where he directed research and development of their rocket propellant division. So there's more to it here, quite a bit more. And I think this might be worth a video of its own at some point. But it turned into a thing, and then I found on some forums people talking about having met the man and Mr. Stein, who was huge in getting model rocketry started. But, it started off as just a simple housekeeping video with a few things that you guys had sent me, because this channel, as much as anything else, is basically an example of crowdsourcing. A lot of the material I use comes from you. And it got interesting in a hurry, but I'm like, I got to go to work today. Don't have time to do it, but start tagging stuff and making copies, because this is a little too interesting to let go of. And apparently Mr. Rakonen retired from Thiokol in 90 and passed away in 2009. So regrettably, he's no longer with us. But just, I thought, interesting stuff. So there you go, a little tidbit to the morning, a one-off flying model styrene kit back when the kit model engines were being made with black powder. And it talks about how he developed some of the other propellants, but that's another story. Well, guys, that's it. We'll see you in a few days when I get back. And as always, model on.